Hello everybody, my name is Trollmaker. If you're just joining me, this is the Wargame Cup. It's a tournament put on by Eugen Systems. It is played on their game Wargame European Escalation. And this is a tournament that had like 1,400 people in it and has since shrunk down to the round 3, which is what we're in now. And we're watching a match between two 1,800 rated players. The first is Agroq, and he's representing the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And our second player is going to be SikkeSakke, or SikkeSakke. We're going to call him SikkeSakke, who's representing the Warsaw Pact. And this has been my third game of the day. There were 2 other matches. Definitely watch out for both. They're both very, very good. And this map is called Hell's Highway. And one of the big definitive problems with this map is that it's so paper thin. In fact, the actual play area is this, which compared to most maps in the tournament are actually very tiny. And so this map is very infamous for all-inning. It's very infamous for artillery play. And it's very infamous for just overall last-minute craziness. What this map doesn't offer a lot of is flanking. Because it's so small, there's not a lot of flanks. There is a side road that you can take around, but it is so long that way that it's generally not worth taking. But speaking of which, someone's Agroq actually taking a lot of VABs and some supply along this path. And this is actually how you have to do it. If you go this path, you have to take the supply trucks to resupply your vehicles, because they will run a fuel last minute. So we have Chasseurs versus Spetsnaz. The Spetsnaz should go down, but whoa. The Chasseurs are actually taking a lot of damage here. We also have some Chasseurs cut in the middle here. Immediately there's always a big battle for trying to get this middle location. It of course has the maximum point value of 4 and is very invaluable. So both players are kind of going all out to try and snag this. This group of Spetsnaz has actually proved to be far more effective than they ought to have ever been. And we can see this group of... Whoa, that's a lot of gazelles. And this is what I'm talking about, just really weird play. And we have a lot of VABs moving around, so he might be trying to use these initial infantry to wipe out any anti-aircraft weaponry he can, and then he might just follow up with this giant bulk of Gazelle 34F cannon helicopters. Kind of an interesting strategy from Agroq. And these guys are both relatively high rated, both 1,800. Which is as relatively high as you can get. And do they need a respite? I think he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with this. With this kind of tactic, usually you can go along this road up here and come create a flanking position from the back. Sometimes if the enemy has a command at his main base and an FOB, you can steal both of those, which is quite valuable. But it appears that neither person has an FOB. Could actually slow down the game quite a bit. And actually from SikkeSakke we see he's actually got 3 commands on the map. One of them is going to Charlie, one of them looks like it will probably go up to Echo, and he's actually going to play a very economic focused game. Now little does he know that his opponent Agroq is going to be doing something very fishy eventually. And of course it's a lot of these weird position units that make me think something's happening. Just the fact that they're all over the map too. Something fishy has to be happening. He's been hiding these helicopters because he doesn't want his opponent to know about it, and he's been hiding all these infantry. So what he does with these is going to be kind of interesting. I suspect it's even possible he could actually take this road here and just go straight into Charlie and wipe out this position. Of course, there is a TO-55 flamethrower tank here, and this will take some time because this is a very small, very tedious move. But look at this. We actually see a few infantry coming through the woods for SikkeSakke, who is just trying to cover his flanks. Now keep in mind, there's actually only one command on the map for Agroq. So when you only see one command like this, you have to immediately think something weird is going on. That means the enemy has more units than you. But if he's not doing anything with them, that could be problematic. And here we go. VABs have hit the road and are rushing forward. Any kind of position they take up here would be fantastic. This MD Jupiter should be going with them eventually. and the gazelle should be swarming at some point. So there is some kind of play involved here. B&B going to try and take a minor win here. Of course, so far, 55 versus 56. This is a pretty minor win game so far. But something all-inish is on the way. And here comes the VABs. He has two groups. I'm not sure why, but he does. And he's going to use the move fast command to rush them forward. No doubt wants to get this command. If he can get this command, this would give him a very, very big lead and would make this play very much worthwhile. Of course, his opponent, SikkeSakke, going for the standard of get lots of artillery. This map is very punishing to failed attacks, and that's not good. And whoa, he smells something. He's actually going to place a recon helicopter in the direct path of all these infantry. These infantry can pay off, but it's a matter of when and how. Now looking at the SikkeSakke cam, he does see a little bit of funkiness going on here, and he's actually deploying his Mott Schützens and TO-55s to the south. He's pulling the command away, so he knows this is coming. It's already been sprot, and he's actually going to split up his VABs. He has half his VABs heading towards Bravo to try and snipe at this location. He has the other half going towards Charlie, which of course has already been dealt with. The command is already being moved away. It's a matter of what's in these VABs. It could be just cheap chasseurs, and just cheap chasseurs, he will have some problems. And already this is not looking good. Not good at all. And we can see his VAB is actually going to intercept this recon helicopter. And yes, it is in fact cheap chasseurs, which are doing relatively good damage, taking out a lot of anti-aircraft. And the command here is actually getting pulled, but is it getting pulled in time is the question. The recon helicopter gave him the essential information he needed. And here we go, the VABs are loading up on this command armor. The command armor might just get away. There are some helicopters coming in to support. You can see most of these chasseurs are actually doing relatively well, but looks like with the number of Mott Schützens here and the TO-55, it will get cleaned up. There is a chasseur in the wood here with the VAB as well, which will no doubt stay as a hidden unit, and the command is completely pulled away. This plan of attack has been thwarted, but keep in mind, he doesn't have a reinforcement point right now. As long as he can hold this position, he is still going to be ahead, and actually, point-wise, he's ahead as well. Once these chasseurs are cleaned up, it will even up quite a bit more. And actually this VAB might randomly go in right into this transport helicopter for some extra pointage. TO-55 coming in to try and clean up infantry units. Of course, he doesn't really realize this transport helicopter. Agroq actually has a pretty sizable lead right now. However, he only still has 1 point, and this attack didn't really get the killing blow he needed. And in fact, it's actually possible for SikkeSakke to have a pretty easy win now that that attack didn't do as much damage as it ought to have. Lots of BMPs coming in. BMPs, of course, have anti-infantry and anti-tank weaponry. They're your half and half vehicle for the pack, and so he's going to try and use these to clean up a lot of these chasseurs on the map. And right now, he's just really acquiring a lot of points, but not spending. So when he does move a command back to a reinforcement point, he will actually get a lot of units. Now keep in mind, this is kind of a funny scenario. Agroq's style has actually involved trying to take out reinforcement points. That's all he's really concerned about. So he had an attack here at Bravo to remove this command from reinforcement, and he has all these chasseurs directly engaging reinforcements in towns and in forests, and then he has some chasseurs down here to make sure that one of these commands doesn't fall back and reinforce. But now that it pretty looks like that a lot of these chasseurs will die, TO-55 is on the fire position command, wanting to unload into these woods. Mott Schützen falling off the truck just in time. Mott Schützen's deployed. TO-55 actually being routed. There's a T-80 here as well, which will be unloading into a lot of these locations. And the VAB just pounding on this transport helicopter for no apparent reason. Looks like because of how cheap these units are, it looks like Agroq is going to take the lead from this, and he actually gets a Spetsnaz. That's a pretty expensive unit. Can Saracens hit up? I don't believe they can, but that doesn't stop them from chasing the Mi-7. And actually, yeah, this is actually a really good push from Agroq. He hit enough locations, give him a 300-point lead right now, and Now he's going to have a pretty big problem with defending. And actually, look at that, Saracens can actually shoot up. Didn't think these guns could hit up, but they can. Causing more kiting to be done by SikkeSakke. And a lot of these martyrs being pulled off to try and deal with this. Martyrs, of course, have much better range than the Saracens. And look at this. Another 7 infantry from Agroq pushing forward to try and take this key imbalanced location here, the buildings on the map. And of course, if you look at this one here, there are no buildings on the map. There is no good ambush point here, but there is a great ambush point here, and this is one of the key determinants of how imbalanced this map is. Of course, the location spawning is quite random, but there is always an advantage going to whoever takes this location here, because that'll either secure your reinforcement point or it will deny the reinforcement point. Either or. 3 VAVs will in fact catch this MI7, which looks like it should go down. And it does. Yes, it does. So just as the action's about to slow down, we have a giant wave of Scots coming in for SikkeSakke, who has been individually clicking these bad boys into groups of 1 and just throwing them at the enemy. Little does he know, there's actually 7 VABs loaded with chasseurs, ready to deploy, and whoa, look at this crazy last minute split happening. He wants to take this town. If he can hold this town, he will be in good shape. And of course the split is to, oh, he's actually a Legion of Loss. He's actually spending quite heavily right now. The split is actually to eliminate the wounded from each side. It's actually going to deploy a supply truck. That is so bizarre. Tunguska is of course very good against infantry. And T8 on 3 gonna unload as well. It's gonna resupply the area while also attacking. Good to have. And whoa, here comes a big giant wave of Scots pushing right into the enemy. Moto Strelcy's deployed on top of Fusiliers. Not the best trade that was at all. And more Scots pushing forward, and Fusiliers are wiping them out as they come. This is just unbelievable. There's going to be a huge win here for Agroq, as here we go, a little bit better of a split. Units are going for more prime targets, but there's actually so many anti-infantry vehicles here that this is guaranteed going to be a massive loss for Agroq. Back to this little bit here, it looks like the Spetsnaz has actually thwarted most of these units, and they're actually mostly routed. There's also some artillery fire on this occasion, but back to this, the Ader of destruction and pain. We can see that Moto Strelcy's have taken position, wiped out a few of these Raredans, but lots of these heavy hogs have unloaded on them. Might get a Martyr 1, that could be huge. Artillery fire pounding on this location as well. Not really doing anything though, and can he get this Martyr 1? Can he get this Martyr 1? It's stunned. It cannot fire back. He might just get this Martyr 1. Look at all these Jaggers and carriers that were just sitting here. Like, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. He still has these Gazelles here, and they've been hidden pretty much the entire match. I'm not sure that SikkeSakke knows they exist. Otherwise, he'd have a lot of anti-aircraft out, and he doesn't really have that much out. I suspect these are going to be for much later, in which he goes all in if he's losing. It's a really weird meta play. TO-55 has actually wiped out most of the chasseurs at this position. Has to slowly creep up and take out more, of course. And here we go, the Legion. Oh my god, there's a Smirch that almost got wiped out by Legion of Falmas. That would have been pretty sketchy. Smirches are very expensive artillery, folks. Very expensive. VAB being pushed out by a very well defended area from SikkeSakke. And looks like the group of VABs are going to push forward and try and do some damage. There is a T80U here. They could take that out, possibly. There's also this BMP SP1, but oh no. The TO-55 stunning and demoralizing, and it actually melted to death. Over on this flank, we see that the Spetsnaz have actually been able to really effectively hold off this location. They only have the AK-74s left, so they only be able to kill smaller groups of units. Tunguska, of course, are supporting the Smirches, jumping into these big, giant, heavily fortified locations. wants to get a random command kill, judging by how he positioned that. And it's the randomness now that could really only set the game back for SikkeSakke. Keep in mind there's still 20 minutes. And these games can actually go up to about 2,000. And SikkeSakke does actually have 3 commands to the 1 of Agroq. So anything can happen actually at this point. I don't want to rule out SikkeSakke just losing just yet. But he is doing a lot of inefficient trades which are hurting him. And SikkeSakke needs to do something crazy. There's only 1 command on the map for Agroq, and that means that if this 1 command were to die, that would be game over, no matter what score. So realistically, a lot of helicopters, a lot of artillery, another one of these giant infantry rushes, but in this case it has to be successful. Anything can really bring the game back for SikkeSakke. These VPZUs getting sniped out by an UAC Hebehog. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. UAC. So as the game comes in, Agroq looks like he's just trying to fortify his locations. He actually has 3 recons in a group. That's a little weird. But he's actually going to use these to wipe at the VPZU possibly. There we go. He split them all up. And the Fusiliers are rushing in. Ooh, artillery fire. VPZUs might go for Mars and Rairdens firing and wiping out. Another scout versus an anti-infantry vehicle. Panicked is the scout. Well, actually, it's dead. So it looks like it's going to try and transform into more of a standard game. A game in which artillery will have a big determinant on how it works. And actually, SikkeSakke is doing a fair number of good trades here. Just making some small attacks. And here comes a big, giant group of gazelles. And this is really what I've been interested in. He's been hiding these the entire match. And well, it looks like he's going to continue hiding them. He might be using them to try and snipe out any flanking units. I'm not sure. But he's actually going to push back his command to Hotel. And he's moving most of his army back to Hotel as well. He doesn't want to throw away the game. He kind of realizes his little situation in which he's winning, but he can lose at any second. Kind of a problem. Luckily, he has all his flanks pretty well covered, and so for anything to get through here, it'd be relatively hard. But speak of the devil, there's a single infantry sneaking through before any of these Martyr 1s are deployed and going into the woods. This 1 infantry unit will be able to get through. Will it run to Martyrs? And of course, we all know what the Martyrs want. Murder. Moto Strelces versus Martyr 1. Good trade for the blue player, Agroq, who is creating giant turtling flanks. This is one of these weird things where the prize pool can indicate a lot how people play. In this instance, the round 4 victory is actually is beta access to the upcoming Wargame air-land battles, which is basically like a sequel to this game, and it really has a big. The fact that that's in the round 4 means that people really want to win this round. They really want to win round 4, and how they play will really change. And look at this, Helicopter going straight through Wargame lines. Whoa! He wants to go straight for 1 unit. He wants to go for the command. If he can get this command. Oh my god, no way. No freaking way. Okay, it didn't happen. The Sultan, which of course is one of the most heavily armored commands in the game, it also has a gun on it to fire with. Pretty good. He's got 4 minutes left, and he's actually sending the command off into the most isolated possible location. He might try and send this off the map, which is basically over here where the Heavy Hog is. It's possible. But that was basically like the last hurrah of SikkeSakke. He doesn't really have much left. He's sending in individual helicopters now, and when you get this close to the match, you have a lot of desperation. Now, he does have a lot of artillery, and there's a lot of randomness chance here, but he doesn't really know that the Sultan's completely off the map right now, and not even in a logical location. So actually a pretty big win for Agroq. The score is a little bit splintered because of the fact that there's such a crazy all-in that just massively failed, but there's like 20 artillery weapons on the map for SikkeSakke, and they just couldn't do it. So, you know, pretty good on Agroq, who apparently is a member of the Conservative Party of Canada, the CPC. This is actually my last match of the day. Tomorrow I'm going to have more great matches. The best players in the tournament are all playing their matches on the weekend, and so there's going to be a lot more games. So, you know, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more Wargame European escalation. And if you can find your heart, definitely like this video. Thanks for watching.